Sushiswap certainly passed worth assessment according to the latest data collected. The continuous expense of Sushiswap in every practical sense is 118 and Sushi sort of is at by and large sort of present, situated in the truly entire crypto climate, most certainly in spite of mainstream thinking, which in a real sense is very huge. The scattering supply of Sushiswap fundamentally is 127,244,443 with a market cap of 150,326,856 in an unpretentious manner in an unobtrusive way in the past 24 hours. The crypto in every practical sense by and large has been decreased by 175 in its continuous worth, which generally is genuinely critical in an extremely enormous manner. Expecting we dissect the continuous business area cap of the Sushi with yesterday's, you can basically generally see that the market cap for the most part is furthermore down in every practical sense, in spite of prevalent thinking which by and large is very huge from latest 7 days. The Sushi in a real sense was in fundamentally extraordinary truly sort of vertical example and extended by 2138 in a reasonably essentially enormous manner, which is genuinely critical. Sushiswap actually essentially has shown solid areas for extraordinarily of extremely late, and this could be fair, a fundamentally especially open way to make a plunge, and especially really contribute inside the latest 1 month. The expense of Sushi lessened by 76,776, shedding an extraordinary regular measure of 391 from its continuous worth extremely, as opposed to prevalent thinking in an in every practical sense, significant way. This surprising down suggests that the coin essentially really is in plunge at the extremely present time, inferring that it might sort of be a good buy, a decently especially likely especially open entryway for quick hypothesis in a fundamentally large manner. The 90 days cost change actually especially is close 7681 and the expense flowed from a base regular expense of 507 to most prominent fundamentally beautiful typical expense of 572 in the past 90 days, which by and large essentially is very critical, as opposed to prevalent thinking. Sushiswap especially is someplace close 8689, with the most sort of really outrageous normal expense of the coin in a real sense was around 1226. And the base common worth of was around 1066 in past 4 months, which certainly by and large is very critical, or so they certainly thought. Sushiswap Sushi worth assumption figure for 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2030 at prediction. We in every practical sense by and large predict future Sushiswap cost assumption Sushi gauge by applying significant man-made cognizance fundamentally helps sort of essentially concentrated examination on the fundamentally past worth data of Sushiswap, for the most part essentially in opposition to prevalent thinking. All things considered, in spite of mainstream thinking, we fundamentally generally give a brave work to generally assemble most noteworthy obvious data for the Sushi coin, which essentially consolidate various limits, like genuinely past worth Sushiswap market cap Sushiswap volume, and scarcely any decently kind of more in a very significant manner, accepting that you for the most part are wanting to especially in a real sense put assets into generally progressed cryptographic types of cash and need pretty genuinely extraordinary benefit from your endeavors, sort of attempt to especially basically examine our assumptions, which by and large is genuinely huge. Sushiswap worth assumption 2022. According to our significant fundamentally concentrated assessment on beautiful genuinely past worth data of Sushi in 2022, the expense of Sushiswap certainly generally is expected to especially reach at most certainly unquestionably minimal level of 147 or so. They certainly thought, which is genuinely critical. The Sushi cost can generally show up at a most outrageous level of 174, with the normal trading cost of 154, in a kind of beautiful significant manner. or so they thought. Sushiswap worth conjecture 2023. The expense of Sushiswap fundamentally is expected to essentially reach at the fundamentally minimal level of 217 in 2023. Amazingly, the Sushiswap cost can truly show up at a most genuinely outrageous level of 256, with the run-of-the-mill cost of 223, all through 2023 or so. They generally buy and large thought Sushi worth guess for 2024 to 2025, as per the guess cost and entirely of specific assessment in 2024, the expense of Sushiswap fundamentally most certainly is expected to reach at the exceptionally outright least level of 336, in an especially sort of large manner in every way that really matters enormous way. The Sushi cost can for the most part generally show up at a biggest level of 385, with a normal trading cost of 347, in an unpretentious manner. Amazingly, the expense of one Sushiswap essentially should reach basically level of 468 in 2025. In a genuinely significant manner, the Sushi cost can by and large generally show up at a biggest level of 572, with the ordinary expense of 485 all through 2025, in an unobtrusive manner, which is very huge. Sushiswap worth figure 2026 Sushiswap cost for the most part is checked to basically show up at a most negligible possible level of 633 in 2026 or so. They actually basically thought in a very significant manner, as per our disclosures, the Sushi cost could truly show up at a most reasonably in every way that really matters outrageous possible level of 813, with a normal figure cost of 652. Amazingly, Sushiswap worth conjecture 2027, according to our significant truly concentrated assessment on very past worth data of Sushi in 2027, the expense of Sushiswap certainly generally is assessed to essentially by and large be at around a base kind of in every way that really matters worth of 878, which fundamentally is genuinely huge, which for the most part is very critical. The Sushiswap esteem pretty worth can show up at a constraint of 1070. With the regular trading pretty worth of 911 in Sushiswap Sushi, worth assumption 2028, the expense of Sushiswap is expected to reach basically genuinely worth of 1253 in 2028. In a quite huge manner in opposition to mainstream thinking, the Sushiswap cost could fundamentally in a real sense show up at a generally entirely outrageous certainly worth of 1506, with the run-of-the-mill trading cost of 1298 all through 2028, which is genuinely huge. Sushiswap worth assumption 2029, as per the figure and especially specific assessment in 2029, the expense of Sushiswap in a real sense generally should truly reach at the least worth especially certainly worth of 1821 or so. They thought the Sushi cost can explicitly by and large show up at a biggest worth fundamentally really worth of 21.